Hello, world. We are here, Episode 3, Season 3 of the HoopTalk podcast. This is the first episode of the season actually commencing. We have seen NBA basketball games. It has been a while, but we are back. John Z, how you feeling now that you got NBA basketball back?
It's good. It's like a hole in my heart has been filled. NFL season in my eyes is over. I said this coming into the season. Football is just something to hold me over till basketball starts. Now football is just going to be that background noise while I watch basketball. That's all it's going to be.
Um, yeah, I just had nothing going on. So yeah, I was just very, very excited to see NBA basketball back, and it was an eventful first week.
Yes, it was.
A lot of great games. Some teams getting off to hot starts, some teams getting off to poor starts. If you are joining us here, shout out to you. A game did just end, and it was the San Antonio Spurs playing the Brooklyn Nets, and the Spurs have moved to 3-0 in the season. John D, I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the early season Spurs, and obviously the 7'4" elephant, or should I say giraffe in the room? I don't know. Tell me about the Spurs.
I'm much higher on the Spurs than I was coming into the season. I do think with Victor Wembanyama and Luke Cornett on being on the floor at all times, that does take away a lot of quality shots around the rim. I definitely undervalued how Luke Cornett would play coming into the Spurs team. You can play him next to Wemby. You can play him off the bench. There were some possessions where he stopped Anthony Davis in space against Dallas. There were some possessions where he stopped. I wouldn't say stop Zion Williamson, but he made it difficult for Zion Williamson to get downhill and finish around the rim. And then Victor Wembanyama, he has so much space within the 3-point line that he takes away just by being there, that it makes shots difficult around the rim or just takes away shots completely from the rim. I know for the Pelicans and the Mavericks, they both shot under league average around the rim when playing against the San Antonio Spurs, especially the Dallas Mavericks. And it makes it much harder for teams, especially that don't have the floor spacing, to create efficient offense or to create easy offense. And I don't know if this is a too early reaction, but I think the Spurs could definitely win a few playoff series just off of that alone, because there are a few teams that do lack the floor spacing in the Western Conference and will rely on getting to the rim as consistently. And they can play Wemby and Cornette at the same time. They can have Cornette on the floor by himself with some solid guys that can put pressure on the basketball. Or when Wemby's on the floor by himself, we know what that brings. So I do think defensively they have been really good, especially as far as taking away the shots at the rim. Now, Dylan Harper, I really like Dylan Harper. I really like Dylan Harper. He gets to the rim. He you can't stop him from getting to the rim. Now, there are a few things where the contact that he receives at the rim, I think he does have to do a better job of just absorbing that contact, but I think that will come with size and him time with really him growing into his frame and growing into his size. But I really like what he's been doing, and Stephon Castle as well, being able to get to the rim and getting better as a 3-point shooter has also been very special in what he brings defensively as well. So I think the Spurs team is really good. I think the Spurs team is really good, and I definitely do think they can win a playoff series. I wouldn't be the first to pick them, but if they were to win a playoff series, I can see the avenue where you have Victor Wembanyama taking away shots at the rim consistently. And the best part about this is they don't even have De'Aaron Fox yet. De'Aaron Fox has not played yet, and I do think there is some avenues to where him and Wemby can be a really good duo, especially offensively, with how De'Aaron Fox is able to get to the mid range or get to the rim, and how much gravity Wemby has rolling to the basket, or even being a pull up 3-point shooter or somebody that can pick and pop. So with the assortment of guards they have, and now the assortment of bigs they have with Wemby and Cornette, you can always keep a duo or pick and roll tandem on the floor at all times, whether it's De'Aaron Fox and Cornette, whether it's Dylan Harper and Wemby, or vice versa. So I'm really high on what the Spurs are doing. Um, I just think maybe some floor spacing issues may need to be addressed, but I'm really high on what the Spurs have been doing over the past few games.
Last week we did our Western Conference power rankings. We had the Spurs ninth. It's been 3 games. But how do you feel about the 9th place placement that we gave them?
In the end of the day, the West is still very stacked. So if they were to move up, it may be a spot or two, but I would say between 7 or 9, maybe 6 or 9. but I wouldn't move them up too high just because this still is a very young team and they do still lack floor spacing. But I do think there is an avenue to where they can get into the postseason. If they are maybe a 6 or 7 seed, I can see a world where they take a really good team to 7 games or maybe even shock the world and win a playoff series. But again, this Western Conference is still very stacked to where if they were to move up in my predictions, it would only be about 2 or 3 spots.
That makes sense. I was lower on the Spurs. I had questions about their defensive personnel outside of Wemby and Cornette, um, especially with Soham being hurt. I didn't view many of their guys as positive defenders last season. I do think like Stefan Castle has taken a jump defensively. I do think he's been nice on defense from what I've seen. But I'm gonna be honest, I think I may have underrated Wemby. Um, in the sense that we all agreed for the most part that he was the best defender in the league, but his impact on that side of the court was, I understand. It's a shame because like Rudy Gobert was like the pinnacle of rim deterrence for like years, and he never really got the respect for it for whatever reason, probably because he's Rudy Gobert. But seeing Wemby, the amount of times people drive and Wemby just exists, and it's automatic kick out passes, or guys are driving downhill, they see Wemby rotate over, and now they're taking floaters or pull up jumpers. Like that level of impact, I don't think can be quantified. Maybe there are numbers that are quantifying it, but there's a reason. I think shout out to our guy, friend of the show, Hoop Venue. He said that I think the Spurs, when Wemby's on the court, give up the largest percentage of long mid-range jumpers. And I think that's evident when you watch the film that teams are just actively choosing not to go downhill. Um, in the Mavs game, they only shot 28% at the rim, which is obviously egregious. The Pelicans shot 56%, which is twice as good as the Mavs, but still really bad. Like, and this is what the Spurs over the course of the season are just going to do. They're going to leave you helpless at the rim, and that automatically give you such a high floor defensively that although I'm not the highest on their defensive costs, they're going to have a great defense. And then offensively, some of the things he does, I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of crazy. And I do think he's got better offensively. Tonight was his first turnovers of the season. So 3 games, and it was his first turnovers. So progress. Not as trigger happy from 3, which is a good sign for his offensive impact, posting up more. The only issue I would have, I guess, is right now I think the Spurs are struggling to play out of his gravity right now. When he's getting doubled in the post, it's a bit stagnant. Sometimes you're not creating the advantages you could. But I think that just comes from time and understanding how to react and understand spacing on the floor. Also, I think De'Aaron in that situation where if you're doubling off Wemby, De'Aaron's one pass away, his speed to get in the paint. It's just the Spurs, I think I'd probably still have them as a playing team, but that's more so just because I think the West is going to be really good. But I think the Spurs are a better team than I may have given them credit for. Although I would like to see them play against some higher end competition.
I'm waiting for
Because
that
Brooklyn
OKC
is not.
matchup.
Yeah, Brooklyn's not the greatest competition, although they made a hell of a comeback. Shout out to Cam Thomas, by the way. I might have to talk about him a little bit. They narrowly beat the Pelicans in overtime. The Pelicans are an interesting team, but not exactly the pinnacle of basketball. And then they obviously destroyed the Mavs, who I wasn't that high on before the season, and I may be even lower now. So I do want to see the Spurs once they get into the tougher part of their schedule. But 3-0 is the best you could ask for. Wemby looking really good. He had another 30 piece tonight. Dylan Harper, like you said, at 20. Just an overall really good game. But before we move on from that game, I do want to. Is there anything you want to say about Cam Thomas?
I think Cam Thomas, when people look at Cam Thomas and they see, oh, he doesn't average that much assist. I think people start to underrate him. And I think that's been the case for a past few years now, just because being able to score the basketball at the level that he does still brings value to an offense. And I think people are kind of overthinking it. When you have someone that can get to the rim, that can play out of the mid range, is a really good tough shot maker, all of that brings value, especially to an offense that doesn't have as much. When you can give the ball to Cam Thomas and he has an assortment of ways he can put the ball in the basket, I think that is very valuable. And I do think people underrate it.
I agree. I put out a tweet in the third quarter of the game, maybe the fourth quarter. I said Cam Thomas is one of the best offensive players in the world. That was pretty much the tweet. That might not be word for word, but that pretty much. And I just think that's just true. Like defensively, yeah, he's a train wreck. Like we can acknowledge that. He's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Cool. But offensively, his gifts as a shot maker, ball handler, shot creator, the attention he draws, he's, in my opinion, the percentages may not reflect it. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. Like, especially just from a shot making perspective. The shots that he's probably has the worst shot quality in the NBA. That might okay. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, notwithstanding, because like their shot quality is bad, but they're so good at them that it's like good shots. Those two notwithstanding, he has probably one of the worst shot qualities in the NBA. Some of that you can say is because of him. A lot of that I would say is because this Brooklyn Nets team has no one who can create a shot for themselves or other people. The point guards they drafted, Jaeger, who's shooting the ball really well, can't get inside the 3-point line at all. Ben Seraph is not much of a creator. Nolan Traore hasn't played. Danny Wolf, I think, is hurt. MPJ can't create for himself or others. Then it's Trey Man. Like this is a Nets team. The only way they're going to be able to win games is if they get unfathomably hot from three. And you saw that in their comeback against the Spurs. They lost, but that's how they came back. They got unfathomably hot from three, and Cam Thomas saved us. And quite frankly, I think we've seen it. The numbers, like the on-off data, all of that stuff, says he's one of the most impactful offensive players. He can play on and off ball. Do I like him as a point guard? No. But do I think he's extremely comfortable initiating offense for himself and that leads to good offense for his team? Yes. And do I think he's really good away from the ball? Yes. I just think he's really impactful offensively. And I think because he's not a high level playmaker in the typical sense, he's not going to get that respect because for whatever reason, you're not a good offensive player unless you're great at scoring and playmaking. And I just don't think that has to be the case. So yeah, Cam Thomas, really good offensive player. Brooklyn Nets might be the worst team in the NBA. They might be the worst team in the NBA.
That might be a good thing because we got some pillars coming up in the draft. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, Brooklyn. You might mess around and hit the lotto and have your pick of the litter.
Knowing Adam Silver, they're gonna have the 5th pick, but
right.
The 5th pick in this draft might still be good. So
yeah,
you might still luck out. Someone sent a super chat. Shout out to Eleanor. He said, Luka finally going back to that midi. We are back. John D, I know you've been waiting to talk about Luka. Unfortunately, we did just get news that he's going to be out for about a week, but let's not put a downer on the moment. John D, tell me about Mr. 40 points per game, Luka Doncic.
I mean, the best scorer in the league, Luka Doncic. It's been 2 games.
That's what you're going to say.
It's 2 games. The level of basketball he's been playing, getting to the rim, finishing through contact, being unstoppable out of pick and roll. Once he gets you on that left hip, it's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do. Okay, give me the contact. I'm going to finish right through it. Okay, guard this pick and roll perfectly. I'm just going to drain the 3 in your mouth. That's how it's going to work. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Now, as far as the Lakers, they're in a separate conversation. Because last night or the night before last, one of the two, against the Timberwolves, I think Rui had a great game. I think Marcus Smart and Vando brought a lot of energy defensively. And I think in the second half, DeAndre Ayton decided, hey, I'm going to touch somebody on this pick and roll. Hey, I'm going to put a shoulder in somebody on this pick and roll. And you see what happens. You get pretty good looks. Every time DeAndre Ayton decides to put his body on someone and roll hard to the basket, something good happens. There can't be an easier job. You're playing with the best pick and roll ball handler in the league. Make contact, roll to the basket. It's right there. It's right there. The pass is going to be there. But instead, he does this thing where it's like, okay, I'm not going to set contact, and I'm also just going to stop rolling at the 3-point line. Why? What are you going to do at the 3-point line? That doesn't do anything. For example, against the Warriors, Austin Reeves is being guarded by Jimmy Butler. DeAndre Ayton's like, okay, I'm just gonna put my hand on Jimmy Butler's shoulder. I'm gonna roll and I'm gonna stop at the 3-point line. Draymond's like, oh, he's not gonna do anything at the 3-point line, so we're gonna blitz Austin Reeves. Turnover. It's not hard. It's not hard. So this is gonna be the DeAndre Ayton experience. I was somebody that was trying to defend DeAndre Ayton throughout the offseason just because I know his talent. And I'm thinking, like, look, you're trying to get you another contract. Go out there and play basketball. It's a roller coaster with him. It's a roller coaster with him. But Luka Doncic has been amazing. He's been amazing. And it's really good to see, especially from where he was last year to now. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. It's been so fun to watch. As for him being out, this is where I get the I'm not a real Laker fan stuff from. We have the Timberwolves, the Kings, the Blazers, and the Heat. Without Luka or LeBron, how many games do you think we're going to win out of that?
All of them.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm looking at those games. I'm like, yo, we could legitimately go 0-4. We could go 0-4. But we can win 2 of them. Because to be fair, I'm not really respecting the Kings out here. I'm not really respecting the Kings out here.
They got a big win against Utah the other night.
Oh yeah, Utah. You know what Shaq say? Golf clap. Golf clap.
The Utah that beat the Clippers, who we had as a
Oh,
contender.
no, we ain't worried about that. That's early season Kawhi, man. He ain't even used to early season for real.
I mean, Kawhi looked really good against the Suns.
Facts. But yeah, we could realistically go 0-4. And that's the tough part because that's extremely scary in this Western Conference. Very scary. We're going to be starting already. We're going to be starting with a disadvantage, but Luka has been great. Austin Reeves has his moments. I do think this is where you kind of see like Austin Reeves, when Luka is on the bench, kind of struggles to create advantages where he would playing next to a LeBron James or playing next to a Luka Doncic, where he can attack slanting defenses, catch off or shoot off the catch, and really play make out of those looks. So I think that's where you see the struggles in Austin Reeves. He's still a great player, but I just think maybe where he's being overtasked, where he has to create for the offense when Luka isn't on the floor. And that's where I would say when LeBron comes back, you have a lineup. When Luka's off the floor, LeBron and AR are the tandem carrying the offense. And when those two are off the floor, you play Luka with maybe a Jackson Hayes and a few spot up shooters, to where the pick and roll can be really hard to guard with a bunch of shooters and somebody like Jackson Hayes that can roll to the rim. But the defense has not been good, especially against Golden State. Everybody creating rim pressure. They just let Jimmy Butler. He was like, Jimmy Butler crosses the half court. He was like, nobody move. Gabe Vincent, you come here. That's exactly how it went. Every single time. And don't ask Dalton Connect to come in, because I'm like, maybe Dalton Connect can play decent and up his trade value. It's not going to work. But I think the Lakers will be pretty good once LeBron comes back and once they're fully healthy. So,
yeah, you kind of covered all bases. One thing that's interesting to me is that as the league tends to go, the league, in my opinion, is going further away from like just heavy pick and roll offenses. But the Lakers seem to be leaning all the way into pick and roll offense, which makes sense. You have Luka Doncic, one of the, let's just low end estimate, 5 best pick and roll players ever. And you guys are creating just consistently great offense out of simple pick and rolls. Just based on, because there's really no, Luka has every counter in the book. If you're gonna play typical drop coverage, Luka can fry that, whether that's pull up jumpers, drawing out the big lobs. If someone tags, skip pass, oh yay, pick and roll. And then if you hedge, you got someone in the short roll, Luka can make that pocket pass with ease. Once again, if you tag, he can still make skip passes. I'd argue he might be the best skip passer ever. Then if you're switching, Luka can fry you in isolation. Now he's getting by you. He's getting into the mid range. His shot making has been 10 out of 10, especially in the mid range. That Timberwolves game, his shot making all over the court was 10 out of 10 besides free throws.
yeah, facts.
and now he's getting by people. I said on Twitter in reply to someone, he's looking like 23 Luka in terms of like athleticism, getting by people, and then 24 Luka as a shot maker. And I'm gonna be honest, you have that. I don't know what you do with that person offensively. There's really nothing you can do as expected. The defense sucks, in my opinion, just my humble opinion. The defense is trash. But if you're able to just have a top 5 offense, and this is with heavy Vanderbilt minutes, if you're able to have a top 5 offense, you can have a bottom 10 defense. You can still win regular season games. Now, how do I see that faring in the playoffs? I don't know, but we're in October. Let's enjoy it while it's here. Just hopefully Luka obviously comes back still looking like Luka. We don't want him coming back and he looks less explosive or he's just not as effective. That would be disappointing because he started the season and he's been on fire. But is there anything else you want to add on to your Lakers before we move on?
They were running Jared Vanderbilt at the 5, which I think wasn't as bad as you would think, but he's a really good defender to where if he could show some level of competence offensively, I wouldn't mind him starting. Like if he could find one thing he was decent at offensively to where he can be valuable on the floor in any capacity, you start him. But that's just how bad we need defense. So hopefully we figure something out to get him minutes on the floor consistently.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, but we'll see. DSG Piccolo with a super chat. I just want to PSA because we're not going to talk about all 30 teams. We don't have the time for that. If you want us to talk about your team to like guarantee we speak about them, a super chat will guarantee we talk about your team. You don't feel obligated to, obviously. All super chats are appreciated. But if you want to guarantee your team gets spoken about, that would be the best way to do it. DSG Piccolo, known Blazers fan. Shout out to my guy DSG. He said Portland's Mafia in the building. Shaden needs to lock in. F is he doing? Jail Blazers are back. What have been your thoughts on the Portland Trailblazers thus far? They have started the season 1-1, but what are your thoughts thus far?
I think they're a really good team, and I think they're a really good defense. There are a lot of components to this team that scream like really good defense. You got Drew Holiday at the point, you got Matisse, you got Tamani Kamara, you got Denny Advio on the wings, and then you got Donovan Clingan holding down the middle. I'm not sure if Rob Will has played yet. I don't think he's played. I haven't seen him. But with that assortment of defenders, the one true thing I think they're missing is that half court creation that could ease their offense in the half court. I like Denny Advia, but I think he's more of an open floor style of player, somebody that builds off of slanted defenses, getting to the rim, and also plays really well out of transition. But defensively, I think they can make plays. I think they can cause turnovers. I think they can get out on the open floor consistently, and that's why Shaden Sharp is so pivotal to what this Portland Trailblazers team is trying to do and trying to get him to become that half-court scorer that they need all around. Now, do I think he's going to become this really good half-court level scorer this season? Maybe not, but if you can see those signs continuing to grow for him to be that guy that can take on the burden in the half court and create really good shots, I think this team will be much better. Like, imagine if, for example, just a thought process, if they had Cam Thomas in the half court, just somebody that can create those shots in the half court consistently. I think that makes them much better.
Shaden is meant to be that guy, and he has started the season poorly. I'm a big believer in Shaden Sharp. Unfortunately, the pull-up jump shot has just not been with him to start the year. From three, it never really has been with him, but in the mid-range, it was a lot better last year. Obviously, hoping he can find that rhythm. I gotta start with the not on the apology, but just the acknowledgement. Jeremy Grant has been amazing the first 2 games of the season.
Yes, I forgot about it.
Now, very critical of Jeremy Grant last year. I think he was just really bad. Wasn't a fan of what he said at media day, all of that stuff. But if Jeremy Grant gonna hoop like this for the Blazers, down the contract, he's gonna be really good for them. And I think that's just fair to say. Now, do I think he can keep up what he's doing? I wouldn't bet on it. But Jeremy Grant is a talented basketball player. I think that's why I was very disappointed in what I had seen from him last year. Really good athlete, is capable of making shots, is a really good cutter, can finish around the rim. It's just the isolations and some of the bad shot selection really just throws you off. But if Jeremy Grant can play well, that's a big deal for the Blazers. Donovan Clingan shooting threes now. That's a development. Shout out to Donovan Clingan. Tamani has looked good offensively. Denny is looking like picking up where he kind of left off last year. Matisse Thybulle is starting the season healthy, which is good. Was it the Timberwolves game I was watching? He came in and he got like 2 steals on back-to-back possessions, like
You talking about who you
instantly.
talking about?
Matisse Thybulle.
That was the Timberwolves game
And I
because
was
he
like,
had
God
caught
damn,
it out
yeah.
of bounds and made that behind the back in
Yeah, and I was like,
transition.
yeah, see, this is what Matisse does. Like, he's not the most fundamentally sound defender, but one thing he's gonna do, he's gonna force turnovers, man, and that's valuable, especially on a Blazers team that needs to get out and run as much as possible. Matisse Thybulle can help spark that. But I do think the Blazers' ceiling is limited as long as they don't have that half-court creator. Now, next year, if Dame come back looking like Dame,
Even if he could just be the pick and roll pull up shooter, like that's gonna help so much. But hey,
but I do like this Blazers team. Obviously, Chauncey is gone.
yeah,
I don't have any thoughts on that. I'm just putting out there.
yeah, I'm staying away from
Yeah,
that. All
yeah.
that.
This ain't the channel where I'm going to talk about these types of scandals. So I'm just saying, shout out to Thiago Splitter, man. I hope he does a good job.
Yeah,
But the Blazers are definitely a team I'm gonna keep an eye on. They're one of my league pass teams. I'm curious to see where this offense really goes. I think the defense, I don't really have a question. I'm kind of stamping that defense, but offensively, I'm very curious to see where that goes. Next up, Justin, $20 super chat. Shout out to you, Justin. Said, I don't care. I've seen enough to say this is going to be one of the greatest rookie classes of recent. So many talented players. Dylan Harper's ability to get paint touches at will and be great in pick and roll navigator has been my favorite right now. John D has been kind of pushing for a rookie segment or whatever he wants. Justin is giving you the perfect platform. So, John D,
there it
talk
is.
to me about these rookies. Talk to me about these rookies.
This is John's rookie report where we will talk about the rookies. I was gonna build a ladder for the rookie of the year race, but that'll come in the next rookie report. It's only been 2 to 3 games for some of these rookies. I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit, and I feel like the media would be upset if I had Flag at 5. So we're gonna wait a little while. So starting with Dylan Harper again. I've been all the way on this train ever since the Spurs got mocked with the second pick in the draft. Prioritize Dylan Harper. I don't care what you have in De'Aaron Fox. I don't. And that's no disrespect to De'Aaron Fox. He's a fantastic player. Fantastic player. But Wemby is still 21 years old. He ain't 26. He ain't 27. Dylan Harper looks fantastic to the point where I'm like, yo, I got this point guard who can put up points and play in transition and stop at the elbow when he really should be getting to the rim. Who want him? Who want him? I think Dylan Harper is that good. And it's crazy because he ain't even been the best rookie so far. Dylan Harper's great. He's fantastic. You know, I think in pick and roll, he could be really good with Wemby. He's shown a really good feel as a passer, which is something that is very valuable playing with a guy like Wemby. And just always having really good pick and roll partners on the floor with him helps him as well. Luke Cornett's a great screener to where they can run stagger screens off the ball with him curling around the three-point line and having a lane to get straight to the basket. Just the tenaciousness to get to the rim and play through contact and finish around the rim and get to the free throw line is really valuable. So I do really like Dylan Harper. A couple of standouts. Really like Ryan Kalkbrenner. He's been a really good big body for the Charlotte Hornets, just being a rebounder. And it's not even like he's doing anything crazy. He's just being a big. He's being a big. He's standing around the basket. He's getting offensive rebounds. He's screening hard. He's rolling to the basket. The only thing I would say with him, though, he looks extremely overwhelmed and dropped. And that may not be a bad thing. But when I watch him, his eyes are going everywhere. He's like, okay, let me watch the ball handler. Let me watch the roller. Let me peek over at the corner. That's not a bad thing. But I think if now I'm not a coach or anything, but I'd be like, hey, just slow down, relax, breathe. Okay. Because you're looking at the corner, you're looking at the roller, you're looking at the ball handler, you're looking at the lady in the third row. Just relax. Protect the rim. Be a big, you know? Trey Johnson. Really like Trey Johnson. Shot making. I told y'all this. I told y'all this coming into the draft process. Everybody's acting all surprised, like at the Buzzer Sports haven't been covering it for a whole season. Trey Johnson, one of the best scorers in the draft class, in my opinion, was the best scorer in the draft class. Only thing I don't like, he's very trigger happy from deep 3-point range. Very trigger happy. I think it was against Dallas. First play of the game, he pulled it up from the logo. Relax. Let's get you this pin down. All right, let's pause. But let's get a pin down going. Let's get you an open shot around. Let's get you an open shot. But again, his passing feel, really good shot making. Another guy just mentioned it in the chat, Cedric Coward. Who's been telling y'all about Cedric Coward? Like,
you have been telling the world about Cedric Coward.
I told y'all, yo, the Grizzlies go get Cedric Coward. He's going to be a really solid defensive player. Now, once again, as a rookie, you don't expect rookies to come in and just be really good NBA level defenders, but they show the effort to become solid defensive players and shot makers. You know, we're going to continue to keep doing this rookie report because I keep telling y'all about these rookies. I keep telling you. You know, I'm trying to see. I think I have some notes. Oh yeah, there's an elephant in the room we haven't talked about. Cooper Flag. The first game, this is why, one, maybe I was being a hater, maybe I wasn't. I didn't like Flag going to the Mavericks, never did. Just because offensively, I don't think it helps his case. I think Cooper Flag looks his best when there's one big on the floor next to him. There was a play where Cooper Flag set a screen, I forget for who, but he set a screen, received a pass in a short roll, instant kick out to Max Christie to the corner, wide open three. I think that's something Cooper Flag should be doing instead of trying to initiate offense. I don't know why Dallas is having Cooper Flag and PJ Washington initiate offense to the level they've been doing. I do not like it. There is not enough floor spacing with the Dallas Mavericks for Cooper Flag to be initiating offense because he's just not the ball handler through traffic that you want him to be. And again, I'm not saying that won't come, but it's not there right now. It's not there right now, you know, and I think they've been trying to prioritize that. And that might be to the part of why they're 0-2 right now. Like, they have a good team. And I think Cooper Flag is a very smart offensive player, especially for a rookie, to where he can make those quick reads in the middle of the floor. He can get to the rim. He can make a mid-range shot. He made a pull-up mid-range three out of pick and roll. That's progress, you know, but there's a middle ground that you have to play because in the end of the day, we just traded Luka Doncic, you know. We're in the middle of where there's like a silver line between progressing this young player who's supposed to replace Luka Doncic or winning and trying to get to the playoffs and make a deep run. So I think Cooper Flag is going to be fine. I don't love the situation he's put in with Dallas, but I think he's going to be fine. I still think he's a great player. And then last rookie, because I'm rambling, VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe has looked really good. Last night, I think he had about 15 points with 8 assists. The 8 assists, they were really good one away passes. I'm not trying to like diminish that because again, just having the feel to make the right play is a good thing for a rookie that's playing his second game or second or third game of basketball. I think his play in transition has been really good. His tenaciousness around the rim. He's being really good from 3-point land, which is something I didn't expect, especially in his first game. He was knocking down threes consistently, especially off the catch. He looks comfortable pulling up from mid-range as well, and he's very physical. But I'm going to say this one thing about VJ Edgecombe. I will not allow y'all to let VJ Edgecombe be the reason y'all disrespect number 20. He will be back. He will be back, and he will be fantastic. I don't want anybody forgetting about Jared McCain. Do not forget about Jared McCain. Please don't. Because I'm going to be pushing prop once he comes back. Pushing it to the max. To the max. But I think that is it for the rookie report. I've been going on for a pretty long time. Yeah. The rookie ladder will probably be next rookie report.
It was only about 7 minutes.
Okay, good.
Couple guys who I just want to give a bit of flowers to. Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen have both looked good from what I've seen. Derek Queen obviously making his debut in the Spurs game. Looked a bit better defensively than I would have thought. So shout out to Derek Queen for that. Still comfortable as a driver, you know, the things that made him appealing as a prospect. Jeremiah Fears has lived up to the name of Zero Fears. just doing really whatever he wants on offense. Getting into the teeth of the defense, getting into the mid range comfortably. He's looked nice. Con Knipple is shooting the hell out of the ball as you would expect, playing with a level of poise. Defensively, I actually think he's held his own. Um, he just plays the game. Oh, see, I'm gonna say about the white guy. He just plays the game the right way. Like he just does. I'm sorry, man. I don't want to go into the stereotypes, but he does just play the game
Ain't
the
nothing
right
wrong with
way.
that. We know what we get.
Jaeger has shot the ball well, which was a pleasant surprise based on what I'd seen in college. I mean, tonight he went 1 for 5, but we'll ignore tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But before that, he was shooting well. The only issue is, I'm pretty sure every shot he shot in the NBA has been a three. He has quite literally not been able to get into the teeth of the defense, get into the paint. So we haven't seen any really of the playmaking flashes. I knew he wasn't going to be a point guard from the jump, but his handle and his ability to be a initiator is very, very far away right now. Which is fine. He's a rookie. Asa Newell, I've liked what I've seen from him in his limited time. Jalen Johnson being out this early in the season is concerning for Atlanta, but
Very.
it's opened up some opportunities for Asa, and I think he's looked really, really good, crushing the offensive glass, knocking down some threes, running the floor hard. You liked Hugo Gonzalez going to Boston, and I think he's looked okay in his limited time against the Knicks. I think he's looked okay. I have the Pistons game on right now. I haven't really been paying too much attention to tell you what he's been doing.
I got it on.
But anyone else? Any other rookies I've been
Oh yeah, I got to talk
intrigued
about.
by?
He's only
Oh, go
had
ahead.
like 5 to 8 minutes, but I got to talk about my guy.
Oh yeah, I left him out because I didn't want to remind you that he's not in the rotation.
Yeah, it was only about 5 to 8 minutes. I don't think he's been terrible defensively. I think coming into the NBA, the aggression with him just trying to block shots or him trying to guarding on the perimeter and kind of like being over aggressive on like fakes or hezzies, things of that nature. And I do think he does need to like get a little stronger because even in the preseason, DeAndre Ayton was like pushing him around and stuff, and it's like, that's not the best look. But then Jonas Valanciunas, as soon as he got the ball, he's like, come on, we finna work with you. Like, that's gonna happen with a rookie center. Like, again, I think centers and point guards are probably like, I would say I would give a little bit more leeway to point guards and centers when they're coming in as rookies because there is a lot on their plate offensively and defensively. Offensively for point guards, defensively for centers, especially if you're being asked to start. Um, I don't think I think sooner or later he'll crack his way into the rotation. But he is very raw, which is something that is, I wouldn't say concerning, but it's kind of like expected coming into the season. So we're gonna bring him along slowly, and then he's gonna have that 15 and 13 with 4 block game, and we're gonna be here. You're gonna see me. So it's gonna happen. Just be a little patient.
Just before we move on from the young guys, we do have a couple super chats pertaining to the same team. Tay FYB said, just want to show Trey Johnson some love, and Giannis is so far 3 for 4 from three. And then 206 Nate said, what's your thoughts on the Wizards young core plus AJ Boozer and Darren Peterson? We'll start on the Wizards young core, and then we'll talk about the top 3 from next year's draft. John, what's your thoughts?
Over the summer, I've been pushing some Keyshawn George prop, and it's really satisfying to see him playing basketball well, especially creating with the ball in his hand. I really liked him defensively just because he has good size, he has really good instincts, and he seems pretty versatile, or something that he can grow into a versatile defender. But now he's knocking down threes off the dribble, he's creating offensively. Now, do I think he's going to be like top tier on ball shot creator in his career? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't bet on it. But seeing him create more offense, or seeing him bring on more offensive burden, has been fun. Now, looking at this team, I would say I would probably go for Cam Boozer, just because I think him and Alex Sarr would be really good offensively together. With Cameron Boozer's ability to get to the rim, and then you still have really good size. Let's say if your starting lineup is Bub, Trey, Keyshawn, Cam, and Alex Sarr, I may be forgetting someone. I really like the addition of Cam Whitmore, just somebody that can score on and off the ball. Um, and looks like he's going to try and lock in a little bit more defensively this season as well. I really like the Wizards' young core, and if they can just land a top 3 pick this year, I think it'll be solidified. Like I think they're missing is that guy that they can put their full stock into. Like you're going to be the guy for us, and they may already have him. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's what they're missing. I think that's what they're missing.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to get though. Always that
Yeah.
franchise, the actual franchise player. Um, I like Keyshawn George. He was the only guy I was really high on the Wizards last year. I think he's the only one of the only guys on the roster who isn't old like Chris Middleton, CJ McCollum, who's actually an impactful NBA player. I think last year he was a good defender, which is rare for a rookie. Really good feel as a passer. The issue with Keyshawn George and the question from him as a prospect was how limited was his athleticism. But he's finding ways to leverage that, use his strength, be a talented shot maker. Just see, he's not a white guy. Like I said it, just playing the game the right way, and making plays on defense in a way that I don't think people are aware of how good of a defender Keyshawn George actually is. Alex Sarr, I do think, has taken a step, just more physical, stronger, better on the glass, which I think is a big deal for him. Still extremely mobile. Want to see where his offense goes to. Cam Whitmore is weird because I've seen him and Brian Keith getting into it a little bit on the bench after he took a questionable shot. So some of the attitude, I guess, question marks are still rearing their head in Washington. He's also coming off the bench. He's also not playing that many minutes. And if you're not going to get a lot of opportunity on the Wizards, I'm not sure where you're going to get a lot of opportunity. So that's my concern with him. Bub is someone who I'm struggling to see how he can alleviate his flaws. He has the same flaws as Keyshawn George. His athleticism is going to be the thing that holds him back. And he just quite frankly just can't get to the rim. And he's shooting 9% on 2-pointers. That's bad. That's just bad. Will Riley, I saw him on the court a little bit. I'm intrigued. I think he's a long way away physically, but I'm intrigued by his skill set. I haven't seen AJ Johnson play. I don't know if he's played yet.
I haven't seen him play either.
Maybe he has played. Forgive me, I haven't watched all 96 minutes of the Wizards this year. But overall, they are a franchise player away. And when it comes to the top 3 of next year's draft, I'm gonna keep my eye on all 3 of them. If I had to rank them now, I would say Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, AJ. But that can all change throughout the year. I think it's fluid, and I do think it has the potential to be a generational top 3. So this is a year that if you're tanking, Brooklyn, Washington, Utah, Dallas, you can have a franchise player on your hands.
It's a great draft class. It's a great top 3. I would say I haven't really dove too deep into the maybe 11 to 45, 60 yet, but especially this top 3, it's fluid. It's so fluid because right now I have Darren Peterson at number 1 and I have Cam Boozer at number 2. Just a month ago, I had Cam Boozer at number 1 and Darren Peterson number 2. And the month before that, I had AJ DePonsta, Cam Boozer, and then Darren Peterson. So it's like it's going to fluctuate throughout the collegiate season. And I think all 3 of them have their own different case of why they should be the number 1 pick, to the point where I think it's just going to come down to team fit. Maybe, because who knows? We could have another year where the Blazers miss out slightly the playoffs and they get the number 1 pick. And they're just like, okay, we're just going to pick one of the 3 that fit best with what we do. And in my opinion, that would be AJ DePonsta, somebody that's really good defensively and runs out in transition like a demon. Or some teams like, we need size. Let's go get Cam Boozer. Or another guy who's like, we need half court creation in Darren Peterson. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But all 3 of these guys are amazing.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Before we move on with the rookies, one super chat from Kendrick said Cooper's obviously good, but I feel a bit vindicated saying rookie of the year wasn't just his to lose. VJ Harper, Trey Fears, all hooping. I know it's 3 games, but still, LOL. Yeah, I think Coop's gonna. I don't want to say figure out because as long as he's being used as a point guard, I always think it's gonna be hurting his immediate impact. Now, do I think the reps can do good for him? Yes, but I do think something I said a few weeks ago: reps for reps' sake aren't inherently good. Can build bad habits if it's not addressing weaknesses. I'm not sure that you're getting full benefits from it, but I do think reps can help. Um, I just think Cooper's better than his first 2 games have suggested, although he was better against the Wizards,
Yeah.
unsurprisingly. I'm gonna just keep my eyes on the Mavs and Coop and see where they go from there. Anyway, before, we're gonna move on to the next team. John D, I'm a tell you what team you're about to talk about. Because it was your finals pick out East. Talk to me about the 1 and 2 Orlando Magic.
So I don't know if anybody follows me on Twitter. Anybody in the chat follows me on Twitter, but in Mars's words, I've had a eureka moment where I've come to terms with Paolo not being the best player on this basketball team because it's year 4. It's year 4. This should be something that we left in year 1 or 2. Now y'all know I'm still one of Paolo's biggest believers. I cannot keep lying to myself about what is happening on the floor right now. He is not, what's the word I was looking for? Because Franz, he's forcing the issue. Franz is forcing the issue every time he gets the ball. I'm going to get the ball, and there is nothing you can stop from me getting to the paint consistently. And that's why you see Orlando's offense looks so much better when it's just Franz, because he's forcing the issue. He's like, okay, I'm going to get to the rim. Getting to the rim 9 times out of 10 is going to do something decent for your offense. Fiddling around with the basketball 18 feet away from the basket does not help, especially when your team cannot shoot. It doesn't help. It does not help. So what I've been thinking, I'm like, you know what? How can we fix this? How can we fix this? By the way, that late game shot against Atlanta was egregious. I turned it off. I couldn't watch that. That late game shot was horrible. You have such a physical advantage. You're willing to post fade for the game?
If he would have made it though.
If you if he would have made it, great. I can't with Paulo right now. Because it's like, I know what you can be. I know what you can be. And he's just not doing it. He's not doing it. And it's like, he gets the ball and he's like, you know what? Okay. I'm going to through my leg, side dribble, pound, and then I'm going to drive, but I'm going to stop at this elbow and I'm going to shoot. Or I'm going to pivot, fade away. When Paulo attacks a slanted defense, he can get to the rim consistently. I think what Paulo is doing right now, he's getting the ball, and him taking those 2 to 3 dribbles is allowing the defense to set up. He's like, okay, Paulo has the ball. By the time he's done twiddling with the basketball, we got a guy on the left block. We got a guy on the elbow. Come on. So now you're going to drive. You're going to see Dyson Daniels waiting on you. Didn't Dyson Daniels stuff him at the rim in the game? Once again, I think Paulo, in the end, if he becomes what I think he can become, will be the best player on this team. But right now, Franz is just a better player. He's just a better player. And until Paulo realizes, hey, I'm probably one of the most physical, imposing players in the league, and I can get to the rim whenever I want to, he's not going to be better than him. And if you want to be completely honest, he hasn't looked like the comfortable second best player on this roster. It's only been 3 games. I'm gonna let it rock. I'm gonna let it rock. And Paulo, this is, if you're watching this is coming from a place of love. So in a couple years, when I ask you for that interview, don't be acting all crazy. And again, I've given up that argument about the playoffs. I've given it up. I've given it up because that used to be my main argument. Like, yo, those 12 games, like, yo.
Shout out to variance, man. Shout out to variance.
But yeah,
Um,
I can't anymore.
yeah, I'm gonna stay away from the Franz Paolo debate, conversation, whatever. Um, I think if you're like me or Ox, because I think we've been pushing the Franz train among the PC community. I know there's an outside community, but among the PC community, I think me and Ox have been the most vocal in that pursuit, which is weird because I hear Ox say Paolo is better than Wemby. Never heard him say Franz is better than Wemby, but he'll say Franz is better than Paolo. So I don't know. But if you're on that side of the equation, these 3 games aren't like, oh, see, I told you so, haha. More so than I think, and we spoke about this 2 weeks ago. Well, I spoke about this and you kind of listened. When I said my concerns about the Orlando Magic, and I said about how I think some of the spacing issues aren't just a lack of shooting more than they are Paolo's own flaws. And I think some of that is just starting to rear his head, where I think Paolo has the worst first step of any primary creator in the NBA. Now, that doesn't mean I've gone through every primary creator in the NBA and looked at their first step extensively, but I think it's probably him. And his inability to consistently get downhill with his first step or create an advantage with his first step leads to him having to drive and then turn his back to a defender because he hasn't created any advantage of note. And then that leads to fadeaways and double teams and clogging the floor because of his own lack of functional athleticism. And this is why the Bron comparisons and even the Carmelo comparisons never made sense to me, because Carmelo's first step was a blur, and LeBron, I mean, let's be serious.
Yeah.
When you're a strength-based athlete, you either have to be physically overwhelming to the point of like, I'm trying to think of a strength-based athlete who doesn't have an elite first step, because I can't say Zion, because Zion's first step is ridiculous and Giannis's first step is ridiculous. Or you need to stop trying to initiate from behind the 3-point line and get yourself into the middle of the floor. Get yourself in the post, wherever, where your lack of speed isn't a detriment. But if you're trying to create behind the 3-point line with a bad first step, you're gonna end up having to. Luka's a good example. He has a lot more agility and a better handle to his game. But yeah, even Luka, like, his ability to change pace is way better than Paolo's. Like, the issue with Paolo is just he's very one speed, and that one speed isn't very fast. He's also very inexplosive off 1 foot, so he's getting very little lifts when he does get to the rim, unless it's off 2, and then he looks like a wrecking ball. It's like, oh my god. And then he's just not that good of a jump shooter. Franz is just a better driver. Like, I think that's the biggest separator, and it opens up a lot more on the floor. One thing I have liked, Orlando are pushing the pace a lot more.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They are still one of the worst offenses in the NBA, but they are playing faster. So we'll take the positives. Still a really good defense. Desmond Bain, I think, has been Tyus Jones, I think, has been bleh. Jace Richardson hasn't really got burned. He got some burn yesterday. There wasn't much to write home about. Wendell, I think, has provided very valuable offensive rebounding. I actually think Wendell's been decent. Anthony Black, I have not really liked his decision making this year. To start, I feel like he's been tunnel visioned, I guess would be the word. So I think Orlando have to iron out some of the kinks, some of the wrinkles in their team. I'm not pushing the panic button, but that's also because I wasn't saying championship contenders. Now, if you were saying championship contenders, I think there's reason to be a bit concerned. But for me, this Orlando team is cool, but not great. I think that just about does it for the Orlando Magic. We do have one more super chat. It does go back to Luka, but I think this one will be quite quick. John D will just agree with it and move on. Vic Da Vinci said, I know people are not going to want to admit it, but there's no way people think Magic is better than Luka as a basketball player if you take away the accolades. John D? Luka better than him?
I'm going to plead the fifth. My initial thoughts right now may need to be backed up with some with a little bit more research. So I'm gonna I'm gonna slow down on that one. Um, yeah, I'm definitely gonna slow down on that one. But I do think if this is peak Luka Doncic, this is one of the best offensive peaks we've ever seen. I will say that.
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
I think if you don't do relative to error, Luca got it. There you go. That'll be
yeah.
my answer.
There you go. Facts.
If you're not doing relative to error, Luca got it. That's right, man. Realist123 says shout out Mars, man, and John D. But anyway, PC's become a tough watch for me, but this show is always lit. Paolo needs a Rondo type PG. Also, Luca looks like Luca again. The issue I'm having, because I'm watching the Magic play at this pace, which I'm liking. And then every time they get the ball back to Paolo, he slows the game down, to your point about just doing weird stuff and allowing defenses to load up. So I don't know if Paolo is just not welcoming the change of pace or whatever the case may be, but he seems to not be entirely cooperating with the philosophy, which is another concern. So do I think Rondo would alleviate that? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the answer is. I kind of just want to see how this all unfolds and see where the Magic go with this. I can't really say much more than that. John D, do you have an ASMR mic?
I don't know what an ASMR mic is. I just got a regular.
ASMR is those people who like tap the microphone and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Or like
maybe.
whisper.
I was twiddling with my remote. Gonna toss that on. Okay. Missed the couch completely,
Yeah,
but it's okay.
yeah. I heard it fall on the floor. So you sucked. Yeah.
But yeah, this is
Shout
just
to
a
John
regular
D's
mic.
ASMR mic. No, ASMR no. What is the next team on the agenda? A lot of people in the chat have been asking if we spoke about Wood or Stephen Curry yet. So I think now is a better time than ever. The Warriors are 2-1. They beat the Lakers, they beat the Nuggets, and then dropped a game to the Blazers on the second night of a back-to-back. What are your thoughts on the Warriors? What are your thoughts on Steph Curry? All of that good stuff.
This is another team I'm higher on now before coming into the season. Did not put on my bingo card that Steph will be playing this way. I don't know why I didn't have it on my bingo card because he's still capable of playing this way. He's legit like, you know how we say like there's like 13 top 10 players of all time. There might be like 6 or 7 top 5 players in the league because Steph is playing at a top 5 level. He's playing at a top 5 level. The ability to score, the ability to shoot, we know what it is with Steph Curry. I think the defenses looked really good. I think Al Horford has come in and did what he was supposed to do as a center, just being able to play good defense and knock down shots. Al Horford's not being asked to do too much. Jimmy Butler, still being Jimmy Butler, one of the best players in the league, being able to get to the free throw line at the level he does, be able to keep that offensive flow while Steph Curry's not on the floor. But somebody that really surprised me and was starting coming out the gate was Jonathan Kuminga, putting in effort defensively, being more of a team player, passing the ball more, knocking down a couple of threes, still being the athlete that you want him to be, which is playing in transition and finishing around the rim. If this is the Jonathan Kuminga that the Warriors are going to get all season, I like it. I like it. And I think one of my biggest things with Golden State, especially like sitting down and thinking about it, because coming into the season, one of my biggest concerns for them was the size, because majority of their centers are like 6'9", 6'10". And I think what Quentin Post is maybe like 6'11", 7 foot, but he's more of a shooter. He's more of somebody that plays as a shooter or being asked to shoot while he's on the floor. With some of these teams with size that could kill them, like a Dallas or a Houston, they're lacking the ball handle for me to be worried about killing them with extra possessions, where Golden State could really be physical and trap them and force their non-ball handlers to be ball handlers, especially in Dallas. Like, I think Jimmy Butler, Draymond, Pods, Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, because he's shown a lot more effort defensively, and even Steph. Like, I think Steph is a solid defensive playmaker to where he's not hurting the defense either. Like, he'll get deflections, he'll sneak behind you and steal the ball, to where I think they can make life really tough for the ball handlers on the teams that can kill Golden State with their size. Now for Denver, that may be a different story. For OKC, that may be a different story. But for those two teams, I can see a world where Golden State's defense makes it tough for those teams that don't have the adequate ball handling consistently, to where maybe the size won't be as big of an issue as I thought it was coming into the season. But I think Golden State has been really good. I think Draymond has been really good defensively. But that's like saying Steph Curry's been really good on offense. That's what these two are going to bring season in and season out. These guys being really good offensively and Draymond Green being really good defensively. For example, against LA, Draymond it's like you could not have Vando on the floor, but you really couldn't have him on the floor when Draymond was on the floor. And he made emphasis like, okay, you guys are going to put Jared Vanderbilt on the floor. Now you guys are going to play 4-on-5. You guys are going to play 4-on-5 every single time you're on offense. So I really like the Warriors. I really like the Warriors, and I ain't like them on opening night, but I like them ever since. So I think the Warriors are a really good basketball team, and who knows how long Steph is going to be playing like this, because at this point in his career, I wouldn't say expect there to be some type of skid where he's not playing to the level that we know Steph can play at, but I wouldn't be surprised if that stretch came. But Steph Curry is, again, in my opinion, greatest offensive peak of all time. But even outside of that, him being the player he is brings value game in and game out. And it's like one of those players that's like, you're gonna do something, he's gonna do something every single game. It's like he shouldn't be doing that. I was watching PC the other day and you made a point about him pulling up from that deep with the game on the line. Like that shouldn't be something that happens normally. So I think the Warriors are really good, and that's another team I was lower on when the season started.
They did get they got pummeled by the Blazers, quite
Yes, they
frankly.
did.
Second night of a back-to-back, an old team. Can't say I'm entirely surprised that young guys didn't really step up, which is a concern for them. I think, yeah, I was relatively high on the Warriors. I still am. My only, I guess, yeah, the size is a concern. I do think Steph is declining. People are, for whatever reason, still questioning me on that. I don't think it's a knock to say the 37-year-old is declining. But as long as he's still able to put defenses in a blender with his off-ball movement and the gravity and all of that stuff, and then he's still able to shoot the hell out of the ball, especially coming off screens, catch and shoot. I think I just looked, he's 11 of 17 on his catch and shoot threes. If he's going to knock down 60% of his catch and shoot threes, it doesn't really matter that I think his on-ball creation has kind of declined the last 2 years, because he's still able to impact offenses in a way that can't really be measured, similar to like the Wemby defensive thing. So he's always gonna, as long as teams are guarding him now, he's always gonna have that effect, which always gives the Warriors a chance, in my opinion. Defensively, I think the concern I have is the lack of size. That when you are able to get to the rim on the Warriors, it's pretty much a guaranteed basket. They are really smart, but once again, they are just physically limited, don't have many athletes, don't have much size on the team. So that's my concern. I'm very curious to see how they just get through the grind of the regular season. But I do think they are still, once again, a good team. And I am going to keep my eyes on them throughout the season. Currently, though, the Celtics are about to go 0-3, it seems, as the Pistons are up by 11. Shout out to the Pistons. Someone said I saw MIP. Shout out to Justin. I haven't had much eyes on this game, so I can't tell you what he's been doing in this one. I can tell you box score watching, he has 17 and 8. Nice. But can't tell you. MIP after 3 games, I do think is a bit of a stretch. But anyway. What other team do we want to talk about? Is there anyone who's on any team that's on your agenda right now?
If I take a look, just a quick shout out to Portland. They're 0-2 right now, but I do
Portland,
think Ben
0-2.
I said Portland, Indiana Pacers, my bad.
There you go.
They're 0-2 right now, but I do like what Benedict Mathurin has been doing. I do think that their offense can still be pretty good with the way they push pace and Pascal Siakam and what he brings as a scorer. But I do think they're going to feel not having Nimhard and Halliburton. Halliburton for the season. Nimhard, I don't know how long he's out, but I don't think he played last game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we see from Indiana. But they are a fun watch with Obi, Pascal, Benedict Mathurin, Jerace Walker getting minutes now. I would have loved to see Johnny Furphy a little bit more, but it is what it is.
Um, yeah, you kind of covered it. I think they were unfortunate to lose to OKC, Nemhard going down. Um, didn't watch their last game, so I can't tell you what happened in that one.
Neither did I.
They played Was it Memphis they just played?
Memphis, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that game, so apologies, Pacers and Grizzlies fans. But I am intrigued to just see how their team stacks up. I seen at some point they did have a lineup with all three of their bigs on the court, which is interesting. But their team is just being destroyed by injuries. So if I was the Pacers, Project Peterson, man, Project
Yeah,
AJ,
there it
Project
is.
Boozer, whatever you want to be. That's what I would be doing. I do want to talk. Oh, there's two teams I do want to talk about. I'll start with the one that's actually 2-0. The Bucks. The Bucks are a team that I projected to start kind of well. I had a little bit of pushback when I said it on the panel that I think they could start the season quite well in their first 10 games, surprisingly well. And currently they're 2-0. Not saying they've had the stiffest competition, obviously, the Wizards and the Raptors, who the Raptors are intriguing, but they are about to play the Cavs. I think that game starts any moment. Now I'm going to have that
Yeah, let
pulled
me
up.
put that on now.
Yeah. So the tough part of their schedule is beginning to approach, but Giannis is a monster. Miles Turner has looked good, especially defensively, which is something that I'm not going to say I'm majorly surprised about, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I'll say that. Ryan Rollins has looked great. I've been trying to push the Ryan Rollins propaganda train. He's looked really good. Cole Anthony has shown some playmaking ability I didn't know he possessed. Shout out to Cole Anthony. Want to give him credit because I was asleep on this playmaking. I didn't see this. And overall, the Bucks right now, 2-game sample size, they're sixth in offense. The Giannis and shooters recipe is going to be tough to stop. When you put Giannis around a bunch of guys who are willing to shoot the hell out of the ball, you have a good chance of being quite good. And Giannis is also doing a lot of the little things that some people have held against him. Whether that be crushing the offensive glass, the motor on defense looks fairly solid. Like this Bucks team, I think in the regular season is going to be quite good. Even Kyle Kuzma hasn't been bad. Like, I'm interested to watch the rest of this Bucks season unfold. I'm not saying they're gonna win every game or they're gonna look flawless because I do think they have flaws that can be exploited, especially against the best teams. But what I do want to acknowledge is this Giannis guy.
Really good.
He's quite good at basketball. He is quite good at basketball now. Maybe we've become numb to his greatness in a way that I said about Steph Curry shooting or whatever the case may be. But I've been really impressed, and I'm curious to see how they fare against the Cavs because I do think that's going to be a really big test for them. Although I haven't been the highest on what the Cavs have done to start the season, but the Cavs are still a talented team, and I'm curious to see how Giannis and the Bucks do approach that matchup. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to say about the Bucks?
No, I wanted to kind of add on to what you were saying about Cleveland. Yeah, I only watched one Cleveland game. I think it was against the Knicks. And the offense just maybe it's because they did have a lot of people out. Like I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, but you kind of see how important Darius Garland is to the team when he's not playing. Like having the playmaking, the mid-range shooting, the three-point shooting, and just the pick and roll guy being on the floor at all times because we know Donovan Mitchell can you see one guy not playing on the roster and Donovan Mitchell, especially one high-end starter, one of the big four. If one of them aren't playing, Donovan Mitchell, he's pulling. He's pulling. And I think the offense got a little bit stagnant at times, but I don't think they're at full strength right now. So I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Dean Wade has been playing. I advise him to keep playing because he's going to get a contract from the Lakers pretty soon. But Yeah, I just think the offense has been a little stagnant, especially being the best offense in the league last season. So it's going to be interesting to
Yeah,
see.
I agree. I've got that game pulled up. Hasn't started yet, but I do have that game pulled up. Um, the other team I wanted to talk about, they're 0-2, two close losses. The Houston Rockets.
Mhm.
Obviously losing in double overtime to the Thunder, and then losing a relatively close one to the Pistons. Um, what have been your thoughts about the Houston Rockets thus far?
I don't think they're what their record shows. Like when you look at 0-2 from Houston and 0-2 from Dallas, I think there are two completely different things.
Oh,
Like
for sure. Yeah.
I think one Alperen Sengun against the Thunder, really good. Really good. The shot making, and this was one of the biggest concerns with Alperen Sengun last season, just being a heavy isolation post player that doesn't finish well around the rim. I think if his touch can continue to get better and his mid range shooting can be better, he could be much better to what I think. I still think he's a really good defender. Like I think that's one of the things people are kind of missing. And I weirdly enough, I think people miss it because they're comparing him to Jokic way too much. Like I think people miss out on the fact that Schengen's a really good defender. And pick and roll, I like how he uses his hands. And isolation in space, I think he's pretty good there as well. Um, I think he's been pretty good. There was a play against the Pistons where a man was bringing the ball down. He kind of crosses over to one hand and then he tries to spin off of it and he loses the ball and he
And he
trips.
fell over. Yeah.
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 It's like you see the signs of him becoming a decent enough ball handler, but they're just not there yet to where when the Rockets do get in these close games, they're going to get a lot of stops, but they're also going to turn the ball over, you know? And I think that could be one of their biggest issues going into a any type of late game scenario. We saw it against OKC late in the game where Reed Shepard looked completely uncomfortable um, receiving pressure or just being pressured into making a decision. Sometimes Amen Thompson can, it's like he makes a move and forgets the ball. Like he's like, oh, I was about to drive past you, but I forgot that I had the ball in my hand, you know? So I think that's going to be the one of the biggest issues with Houston. I think Kevin Durant was really good against the Pistons. By the way, a really good bounce back game for him. But I think that's going to be one of their biggest issues is the late game turnovers, and that could really cost them a lot of close games. But outside of that, I'm not necessarily upset with what Houston has been doing. Like I still think they're going to be a really good team. It's just they've had some close losses against some good teams lately, and I thought it was kind of funny that who was it? It was Jabari that pushed Asar, and he grabbed him by his arms. Like, all right, I'm tripping, I'm tripping. And then Jalen Duran did the same thing to him, man. And I was like, all right, I'm tripping, I'm tripping. It was funny. It was that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think the guard stuff, like it goes without saying. I don't think there's much to really add when it comes to them or the Mavs. We all can see the problem.
Mhm,
So I don't really need to delve into that. KD had 37 against the Pistons. He looked good,
mhm.
which is cool. No one else really joined along for the ride, which is not so good. Um, but if I'm the Rockets, I don't look too deeply into the 0-2, especially the Thunder game. The Pistons game, I do think they let that one go. Um, no one else really stepped up. Reed Shepard is I was against the drafting of Reed Shepard very vocally. And I'm not gonna write off a 21 year old. I don't know how old he is. But I just have a hard time seeing the viability of someone who is constantly gonna get mismatch attacked and isn't, in my opinion, gonna be the upper echelon of offensive player. I'm struggling to see the vision. Um But if I'm Houston, I do think you have the capability to beat a lot of the bad teams with your defense, getting out and running. Kevin Durant shot making. It just I do view them as like a tier two team because I struggle to see, especially with no point guard, how they're going to break down the elite defenses in the NBA. I just really struggle to see the avenues for that. And I understand dominating on the margins, the rebounding margin, but last year that was so effective because you also were really good at not turning the ball over. Now you're giving back a lot of that rebounding value in the form of turnovers. So That's my concern with the Houston Rockets. But still think they're going to be a good team. Still think they're going to make the playoffs. Still think Kevin Durant is a really good player. Still think Şengün is going to have a good season, albeit he had a bad game against the Pistons. But those games happen. Anything else I want to say about the Rockets? No, not really. The Cavs and Bucks game has just tipped off. The Pistons and Celtics game is relatively close. Some people want us to cook Jokic. So, is there anything you want to say about Jokic?
I don't think he needs to be cooked. Like the first game, he had a bad second half, I would believe. Shot didn't fall. There was that really bad clip on him of him on defense, letting Steph just run right past him. And the body language isn't always the best with Jokic. I wouldn't overreact because I think he played fairly well against Phoenix. I don't know. I don't know why the points were so low or the field goal attempts were so low, but maybe it just felt like he didn't need to need to do as much against Phoenix for them to win. So he had a bad first game.
Yeah, he was bad. He was bad against the Warriors. He doesn't look to be in the greatest shape, but you never know with Jokic. Like, I don't know if he's in shape or not. He just does. He looks a bit bigger than last year. I'll say that. Well, last season. No, I say last year like he wasn't just playing 5 months ago. He was in Eurobasket 2 months ago. Against the Suns, he played perfectly fine. He was doing his no shooting gimmick against the Suns defense that quite frankly can't guard anyone. Any Suns fans, yeah, going to be one of the worst defenses in the NBA. There's no question about that. Absolutely need Jalen Green as well, by the way. They have no one on that team who can get to the rim. And Dylan Brooks has led them in shot attempts every single game. So that Phoenix is not the greatest situation. We'll see when Jalen Green comes back how they look. Jokic hasn't started the season particularly well, and it is kind of disappointing because the other top 5 players, whoever you deem them to be, have all started the season really well, and he's the one who's just hasn't. So in that sense, it's disappointing. But I'm not making all-encompassing takes on who the best player in the world is after 3 regular season games for anyone. I can call it how I see it and say these guys are playing great and give them their flowers, and then also say Jokic is not playing great and acknowledge that. But I don't. Giannis just airballed a mid-range jumper. But I don't think that's indicative of much more going forward. Jamal Murray started the season well, which is intriguing, kind of against the norm for him. Aaron Gordon. Oh my God, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah. The 3-point shooting.
I have to applaud Aaron Gordon. He's just been Giannis just dunked on someone. Aaron Gordon's been amazing. So I just want to praise Aaron Gordon for that. But I'm not overly concerned about the Nuggets. They haven't played great, but they haven't played terribly. We'll see how the season goes on. Is there any other team I want to talk about? Love Fadina said the Timberwolves point guard situation is cooked, and I agree with him. By the way, Mike Conley is officially washed, and Bones Highlands is in their rotation, like unironically in their rotation. I think they need a point guard, and it's weird how that's the third team in the West who I think a point guard is their biggest problem. Dallas, Houston, and now Minnesota. I also just think they play stupid basketball.
Yeah.
And by like, I don't, and that's not me saying like Ant plays stupid basketball if that's how people are going to interpret it. But like, even last year, I'm not a fan of their decision making, especially in transition. I'm not a fan of their decision making. But it just feels like they play. Yeah, it just feels like stupid basketball. That's kind of how it feels. Not sure what their offensive ceiling is. Not sure what their defensive ceiling is. Luka tore their defense to shreds.
Nothing you can do about it.
But it is Luka and Chris Finch and their coaching staff have struggled to scheme against Luka. Like we already saw it in 24. But yeah, Minnesota is another team I'm not the highest on. I'm not the lowest on. I got questions. Point guard is like the top of that list. The Sixers are 2-0.
Yes, they are.
2 close games as well. He did. He's also trying to play the game of basketball without jumping, which is intriguing. Um, but they're 2-0. Close game against Boston, close game against Charlotte. Both of which closed out with relative confidence, especially the Hornets game. Quentin Grimes with a huge three. A lot of people clowning LaMelo when I actually thought he had a good game. Do I think that shot that he took was good? No. But like all the think pieces about LaMelo's not a winning player. He's unserious, blah blah blah. Based on a game in which I think he played well and was actually Charlotte's best player by a significant margin because of one shot you didn't like him taking. I feel it's just like the definition of confirmation bias. So not a fan of that. But I do think the Hornets are intriguing, and I do think the Sixers, this is the best vibes I've seen on the Sixers team in a minute. And Embiid looked a lot better in game 2 than game 1. Had a moment where I genuinely had a panic attack when he was on the floor fighting for a loose ball. And
I think he just like fell pretty hard.
Yeah, someone went into his knee and he kind of just fell backwards. I thought it was over. I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was over. But I think it's just they got to play their way into shape. Obviously, Embiid's still on a minutes restriction. We haven't seen Paul George yet. No Jared McCain, so still pretty banged up. But once they're fully healthy, Maxey looks good. VJ looks good. Kelly Oubre has looked pretty decent. Andre Drummond gave them some good minutes last night. I think the Sixers are still have the makings of a decent team. Oh yeah, Brandon Miller did get hurt again last night. I think it was his elbow or his shoulder. That's concerning. Anything else I want to say about any other teams? I can't think of any. Is there any other teams you want to talk about?
Going through it, I've been going through it. I think that's all I have. Not gonna lie to anybody and say I watched the Clippers. I will watch the Clippers tonight. But yeah, from what I've been looking at, I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I watched them blitz the Suns, but once again, it's the Suns defense. I don't know how much you could take from that. So we'll read some super chats and then we'll get out of here. A couple of them are about football, so that's why I saved them for the end. Switchblade 98 asked for our early thoughts on the Spurs coach Mitch Johnson.
I think what he's doing with the Wemby and Cornette lineup, trying to bring that out, has been pretty good. I think he needs to start Dylan Harper if he didn't start today. But I think Dylan Harper needs to be their consistent starter until De'Aaron Fox gets back. But I think he's been doing a pretty good job, especially coming into like filling the shoes of one of the best coaches of all time. And you have this generational 21-year-old. That's not easy to do. You know, like you're stepping into the shoes of Greg Popovich, and now you got to coach this 21-year-old generational prospect, you know. And I think it was much easier last year because for most of the season, he was just like the interim coach, and a lot of people thought Pop was just going to come back. Now you're officially the coach, you know. So I think that comes with a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I stay away from talking about coaching. But it looks like he's not messing things up. So good on him. But yeah, I can't speak on coaching. I don't really know what they're doing. Smooth Tube said I bleed gold, talking about the Warriors, but I don't want to see the Blazers. Yeah, they kind of handled the Warriors. Their ability to get multiple blow-bys and get to the rim at will was causing many problems for the Warriors. Also guarded them quite well. Wouldn't put a whole bunch of stock in it saying that like they have the answers, but can understand some pessimism. Cujo said, how about Chet, AJ, and SGA holding it down for OKC? Yeah, Chet has started the season quite well. Wasn't great in the Indiana game, but really good against the Rockets and really good against the Hawks. Shay's on his heliocentric arc, like his major heliocentric arc, which is cool. But AJ Mitchell, really liked him last year. Obviously got hurt, missed a lot of the season. But he's coming to this season looking like a really good offensive player. Really, really talented scorer. Last night showed some playmaking ability as well. When Topic comes back, I'm not sure there's run for him, if I'm being honest.
There might not be.
I don't know where the minutes are going to come from because AJ Mitchell absolutely has to play. He's just He's really good. Shoots the ball well, can drive, plays with poise and patience. I don't know what more you could ask for from AJ Mitchell. Just a really good player. And if the Chet offensive leap is real, just seeing him shooting threes off the bounce, shooting over contests,
Still a really good play finisher, cutter, lob catcher.
scary hours in OKC, man. I don't even think OKC have really like played that well. So we'll see how their season continues to unfold. Randy Balin, $20 super chat. If the gambling scandal isn't just a few guys who were named this week, do you think the game is going to have an existential crisis? Not to depress everyone. I don't even know what that means by existential crisis.
I think what it is like, I think the last thing the NBA wants, like, no disrespect to Terry Rozier and Jonte Porter and
Oh,
all
like
those
a
guys.
superstar to
Yeah.
get caught up in this.
Yeah, like that's the last thing the NBA wants. Like, imagine you wake up and SGA is a part of this. Like, that's not a good look at all. Um, I don't usually follow this stuff too much, to be completely honest. Like, I don't necessarily like talking about this or like the Kawhi scandal or the Malik Beasley situation because it's like I'm sure there are much more people out there who are way more qualified to cover that part of basketball more than I am. I'm just going to talk about what I see on the floor, you know. But I think that would probably be the scariest thing for the NBA is like, what if somebody who we market heavily gets put in between this? Like, imagine you wake up and Ant's a part of it. Like that wouldn't be good for the NBA at all. This is already a really bad situation, but yeah.
Pistons have just beat the Celtics, who dropped to 0-3. And yeah, I'm with you. I stick to what I see on the court. I don't know about the mafia and poker games. So anything I say is just going to be random projection based on absolutely no knowledge. And if people want to hear that, then there's many outlets where they're going to hear that. My only thoughts are, if you're going to promote gambling all over the place, people are going to gamble.
Yeah.
That's my only thoughts. Anyway, couple more super chats. I think these are all the football related ones. Yes, they are. So John D, this is where I have to talk and you have nothing to actually no, this one you can kind of say. Which is more impressive, Bron's 40,000 points or Cristiano Ronaldo's 1,000 goals? I know you don't know anything about football, but
Yeah.
what sounds more impressive to you? What sounds more impressive to you?
1,000 goals is really impressive, not gonna lie, but I'm Bron FC, so I can't nah. Bron, I'm going Bron 40K.
There you go. Okay. My answer would be Ronaldo became pro about 22, 23 years ago. So assuming he hits 1,000 this season, you're looking at about 48 goals a year ish, I think, mathematically. That's a lot of goals. And then LeBron's 40,000 points is about whatever he's got, 25 points per game for 22 years or whatever. 48 goals is like the most points in the world. 25 points per game is not the most points per game. So I guess based on that logic, I would say Ronaldo's is more impressive. But then the counter is LeBron's did all of his in the NBA. Ronaldo's currently playing in the Saudi league, which is like one of the worst leagues in the world. So you could say stat padding a little bit, whereas LeBron's still doing it against the best competition. So yeah, maybe I'll pick LeBron. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick LeBron. Then you asked me why do I think Neymar's better than Ronaldinho? Because I just think he plays the sport better. Brian Akeem again. Why don't you do relative to error in football as you do in basketball? Russell is the best relative to error in your opinion. Well, Michael Jordan's the best in my opinion because best is peak. Why does that not apply to Pele compared to Messi and Ronaldo, especially Cristiano Ronaldo? Because I can watch Pele play and see he sucks. There you go. That's my answer. Anyway, that does just about do it for our reactions to week 1 around the NBA. We will be back next week, same time. Before we get out of here, John D, what do you want to say to the people?
You guys can find me over at the Buzzer Sports. We talk a lot of basketball with a lot of film breakdown on recent events in the NBA. We also are going to be ramping up college basketball because that is approaching pretty quickly. You can also catch me on Playback, where I'm going to be looking to stream more on Playback, even maybe some non-basketball stuff too, but who knows. But yeah, you guys can find me on at the Buzzer Sports on YouTube. You can find me at the Buzzer Room on Playback, and everything else will be in the description.
There you go. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate like you guys showing love and all that stuff. We had about 250 people in here. Um, go watch that Bucks Cavs game. Is currently Cavs down 4, well Bucks up 4. Giannis has been dominating Evan Mobley from my vantage point. But yeah, until then, we will see you next week. Merry Christmas and a lovely goodbye dab. There we